Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah.
A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to Honest J. Nowak and Flying with the Phone. So of course, let's just get on into it without me going on and just making minutes upon minutes of haste and delay. This right here is the next blaster that I have going on to talk about for HJN and Flying with the Phone. And this is another Alpha Strike blaster. Because after all, I've pretty much mentioned it before, that of course Alpha Strike blasters are going to be well known for their notoriousness for being very cheap builds of blasters, because there's pretty much no screws around this whole entire thing, and the grips are sort of like having that sort of honeycomb pattern, which could be reminiscent to that of the kind of textures you'd find in a Z-curve bow in, well, Zing's lineup of bow toys. But I can't really complain too much because, well, I guess maybe I could, because I can't really say that the Cobra is a bad blaster as a whole. Yeah, the name of this one is the Cobra. The Alpha Strike series at first had a continuous string of blasters being named after animals, or at least anything that's based off of zoology. Kind of like how the Rivals blasters were named after mythological beings throughout history, and the Ultra lineup had blasters that were named off of just numbers. Kind of quirky and a bit stupid in a ways, but I felt like that worked at first. But then of course Hasbro eventually thought about it and must have just changed their complete minds or acted like nothing happened before then, and then just went ahead and started giving traditional names that probably would have been better to put on an Elite Blaster. Or by today's standards, the Super Blasters, not Elite 2.0. Because as I've said before, no 2.0 could ever truly take down a 1.0. It's a true thing that unfortunately is still around. But of course, I'm glad to say that I'm talking about a Cobra and not something different. Because that's what this is. This is an Alpha Strike blaster. It's named after an animal. But of course, I cannot stress this enough. Quite a few blasters that we've had in the Alpha Strike series in recent times have not been named after animals or anything based off of zoology, which alone is pretty frustrating. And the Ultra Blasters and Rivals Blasters also took a turn down that dark path. But going back to the Cobra here, it's basically just that of a 6-shot pistol with some priming rod action, reminiscent to the Nightfinder and Maverick, but pretty much combined. You got a priming rod on the back that automatically puts the next dart into position and fire. So I can't really say that this is probably the best Cobra that I've got in my collection because, well, I did have quite a few versions of each Alpha Strike blaster before I was able to get my hands on ones that were good. And of course I'll be selling off some of the bad ones to ones that might be willing to fix it up or something like that, but I'm just not really sure about it. So I can't really say for sure that the Cobra is in fact supposed to be a bad blaster as a whole, not just for its very cheap build, and of course people just think that the grips are criminally horrible. But I'm not really complaining about it. I mean, the honeycomb feeling is almost relaxing in a way. The way I'm holding on to it, it's kind of like a massage, pretty much, to my hands. Probably because the nose that sort of, you know, on the top, are sort of rubbing against my fingertips. That could be useful, actually. I never really thought of that, but you know what? I can't really say that the Cobra is just that bad of a blaster. Because while it may be an Alpha Strike blaster, and of course they're pretty much doomed for being very cheaply built, and oftentimes they may not work properly because of how cheaply constructed they are, I'm just not entirely sure about it. So of course, just as I've been talking about the Teroth, and maybe a few other blasters already, it might be something that's middle of the road. But nonetheless, there still are, in fact, going to be a ton of other blasters that I still have to talk about. And yet there are also a lot of newcomers to the series as well. We certainly can't forget about that. So if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.